Breaking moments ago, word that prime ministers from Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia are on their way to Kyiv right now to meet with President Zelensky in that besieged city. This is a remarkable statement of solidarity to go to somewhere like Kyiv in the middle of a bombardment there. You'd be hard-pressed to find any example like it in history. It's akin to world leaders going to London during the Blitz. Let's talk about the current situation more with CNN military analyst and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark. General, thank you so much for being with us. I want to start with the breaking news out of Kyiv. Word that they're doing this two-day curfew, including daylight hours. What does that tell you about the security situation in that city right now?
It says that there are some Russian forces that have penetrated. These are assault groups that come in dismounted that the Ukrainians are working against. It also is a precautionary move to keep civilians off the streets and in shelters as the bombardment intensifies.
We've seen some new pictures, I think I could show you here on the wall here, of this bombardment on Kyiv over the last several hours. Apartment buildings that have been hit, on fire, ablaze right now. Devastating images. These are civilian buildings, residential apartment buildings, and it's all over the city right now. We have different strikes happening in the city. What are the Russians doing here?
Well, the Russians are basically closing in their longer range systems on the city. They don't have specific intelligence in many cases, so they're simply firing into areas where there's reported to be resistance. And those shells are hitting everywhere. The rockets are hitting everywhere. So it's really an area bombardment. If it doesn't take out the Ukrainian resistance, then the Russians figure at least it terrorizes the population. It puts more pressure on President Zelensky to come to some agreement that is essentially a surrender document. President Zelensky is not going to do this, but the Russians are in a talk, fight, talk mode. So they keep this diplomacy going in an effort to keep the pressure on and in an effort to forestall Western action by raising hopes of some kind of a settlement. But in reality, President Putin's aims haven't changed. He wants to besiege Kyiv, seize it, put his own stooge in there to say that he's the president of Ukraine.
General Clark, what does it tell you? I've never heard of anything like this. The prime ministers of Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia on their way to Kyiv right now, a city under siege.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story, and I hope they make it in and get the information and firsthand accounts from President Zelensky they need. I think, John, what's happening is that our allies in Europe are recognizing that they simply cannot allow Ukraine to fall. And this is a really important development. It means there's going to be greater pushback, including from our European allies, including greater support, military support for the government in Kyiv. That's why they would be going in. They want the firsthand reports. They want to be able to talk to their people, that they've got to take a higher level of risk to ensure that Kyiv is safe. It's very simple. The best way to defend NATO is to assist Ukraine to defeat this Russian ground attack.
All right, General Clark, stand by, if you will. I want to go to CNN's Scott McLean, who is in Lviv right now, in the western part of the country. Scott, give us the latest, particularly if you can, the situation going on in Kyiv right now with this extraordinary two-day full curfew.
Yeah, exactly. So that curfew will start this evening. It will go right through Wednesday, and then people will be allowed out of their homes on Thursday. But it's difficult to believe that people would want to leave at this stage of the game anyways, unless that's to go to a shelter. So people, of course, during that curfew time are able to go to shelters. They are able to leave for emergencies. But given the situation, given the bombardment, given just how dangerous the city seems right now, this is not the first time that they've put in place one of these curfews. Obviously, have been curfews in place at night in Kyiv. It begins at 8 p.m. Here in Lviv, the curfew begins at 10 p.m. But John, one other thing to mention, you talked about it already, this delegation coming from Europe. This includes the Prime Minister of Czech Republic, the Prime Minister of Slovenia, and the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, as you said. It is quite remarkable. They're going there, they say, to show their support for the Ukrainians, and they're going to be announcing a broad package of assistance to help the country. It comes on the same day when European finance ministers have also announced a broad package of sanctions that they are calling historic. And what I found especially interesting about this journey is not only the timing of it, given that there has been so much shelling and the city seems so uncertain and so dangerous right now, but also the fact that they're going by train, and it appears that they haven't arrived yet. We understand they left before 9 o'clock this morning, so that's more than 3 hours ago, but that train journey takes quite some time. The trains do not run at full speed into Kyiv. They're slowed down in most areas to maybe 50 miles per hour or so tops. And so this journey is going to take a while. And so I just find it a little bit odd that they're announcing this before they've actually reached the city, it seems.
That is odd. I will say it is an extraordinary visit. I had to read it twice when I saw the bulletin cross, because when you think of it, this is a city where strikes are happening all the time. 4 residential complexes hit just over the last few hours, and now these world leaders will be there. I can't think of an historical comparison. It would be like going to London during the Blitz. Scott McLean for us on the ground in Lviv. Scott, thank you very much.